Are you ready for this sickness? Let's get into it. Hey guys, and welcome back to Economics and Comics. So, this is just a Giphy, a Wonder Woman Giphy, or GIF, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be a audio video. So you don't have to sit here and watch this Giphy unless you're sick like me. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit. I'm going to tell you my basically conspiracy. I'm going to give some background to it. I'm going to tell you some truth, some actual facts, and I'm going to tell you what I do. And after this video, I'm done with talking about the different grading companies and all that. This is going to be pretty much it. This is going to be very interesting. I would like to say, if you enjoy this video, please give me a like. If you want to share this with your community, that would be great. This video needs to be done. You need to be educated in certain things, and if you want to hear my point of view, you're going to get it, at least my conspiracy. But again, there will be some facts in here that I'll say, okay, this is real, this is whatever. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and what I do in regard to comic book grading, okay? So take this how you will, but I wanted to do this because there's a lot of questions and I want to give you my thoughts. So let me start off by saying that this is basically my own conspiracy ideas on CGC. They're my assumptions, and that's just what they are, assumptions. Whether you agree or not, remember, these are just ideas. Now, where should I begin? Well, my name is Bill, and I have an addiction to comics, like most of you watching this. It started with me when I was really young, and it came back strong years later. I personally have some strengths. I'm good with numbers, remembering stupid stuff, and I have a pretty good business mind. I used these advantages early on with baseball card sales. I remembered rookie years, names, etc. Like most comic collectors, I believe you may have dipped your toes into this hobby as well. I learned how to grade cards and sent them to BGS, Beckett Grading Service, and would flip them on eBay. Well, that market died, of course. Then I got back into comics. The hunt was my first addiction, finding old-timers on Craigslist and buying collections, which is almost impossible now because so many people do it. I mean, you're like the 5th to 20th person that contacted the person. And most people on Craigslist think their books are worth $1 million, and they're all just garbage. Anyway, I was addicted to keys, which goes back to my memory strength. Mixed with visual stimulation, I could spot a key with a glance at the cover or, by its issue number. Anyway, with previous experience in grading cards and knowledge of the comic game, I started having books graded. Okay, this brings us to CGC. Certified Guaranty Company, not Certified Grading Company, which is interesting in its own right. I started to have comics graded through them and only them. They are the strong and everyone else is the weak. The path of the righteous man. That's just the way it is. I learned how to grade based off of their patterns over the years. I learned early that big books most of the time got hit hard on grades, so I taught myself to grade strict. I also learned that new books, like straight off the shelves, had to be flawless to receive the 9.8. Now, real quick, a near mint is a 9.4, guys. And in the Overstreet Price Guide, a 9.2 is a near mint minus. That's the highest grade they show in there. So don't get those two confused. Then there's 9.6, which is a near mint plus. And what's 9.8's a near mint to mint, near mint plus to mint, whatever. But what I mean by 9.8 is flawless. No ticks, nothing. I began to buy mass quantities of new comic keys and filter out the flawless ones and send them in bunches to CGC, almost guaranteeing me all 9/8 all the time. And I was very good at that because I would only send perfect things. If I saw one tick, it was a 9.6 piece of garbage as far as I was concerned. If I sent that book in, it would get a 9.6 almost 100% of the time. And in this market, for a new book, that is the same price as a raw book almost, and a new book, okay? My first point is this. If you want a 9.8, make sure it's flawless. Even if it's a 10, you will get a 9.8. That's our first lesson, okay? Now, saying that, times have changed. I've seen multiple slabbed comics from CGC in the last year and a half that are 9/8 with multiple color breaking spine ticks. These are new books, guys. Back in the day, let's say 2 years ago and back, that would have never, ever, ever, ever happened. How do I know? Because I lived it. That being said, we'll come back to this portion later. Let's talk about older books. Let's start with like 1979 and older. They're getting harder and harder to find, okay? Consider this. Print runs of new books are massive. And most new comics have been graded, so the census is filled with mostly worthless, overprinted comics in high grade, okay? Now, old books are much lower in print run, or at least graded-wise. So if you find a raw, old comic, and it looks good, you may have it pressed and graded or just graded. You would be pretty lucky in regards to odds to find a 9.8 older comic. So, you send your comic in and bam, you get a 7.5, a 6.5, something like that. You look at the comic and go, you could be sitting on an 8.5, but for some reason you got hit hard. Now, I have a couple theories on this. One, if it's an old, bigger key, get ready to get screwed. Because how could an old key get a higher grade being raw for so long, right? Who knows? Because no one knows their system. They are CGC, Certified Guarantee Company. They will guarantee it's certified. Reminds me of that Black Sheep movie quote. You can take a shit in a box and guarantee it's certified or something like that. I don't remember how it goes, but that's what I think of. Number 2, older books, but not big keys, might get more leniency. So you might get higher grades on an older book, but it's not a key, or it's a minor key. Number 3, I can guarantee the grade is up to the individual grader. Whether they have a good day or bad day, who knows? The next problem I see here is that I've been told that they have over 100 graders daily at CGC. Now, how in God's name can you have 100 professionally trained graders? The turnout rate has to be ridiculous. Someone gets fired and then they hire someone else. Then they have to learn the system all over again. It's very curious to me, but these questions that I pose will never be answered. That's just it. They will never answer these questions. Now, I've also heard that if there are big books, like super expensive, right? They have a very small crew of graders that look at these comics themselves, which I believe, because you can't give a noob grader an Amazing Fantasy 15 or something like that and say, hey, grade this, okay? But here's the problem. I want the big graders, the select few for the top-end books to grade all the books. It cannot be accurate if your entire team is not on the same level, right? Okay, now here comes some facts. This is a little history. Not a lot of people know this name, Steve Borock. Okay? Founder, president, head grader. Okay? For many years, Steve Borock has been well known and respected in our hobby, whether it was as a key figure in introducing third-party certification to the comic book hobby, as one of the top restoration detection experts in our field, as a senior advisor to the major comic book price guides and grading guides, as the senior consignment director for the hobby's largest auction house, or as a member of the board of directors for the Hero Initiative. Okay? Steve was hired by CGC as its primary grader and restoration detection expert when they started in 1999 and subsequently established the grading standards used for third-party grading. He is the guy, okay, that started it all. During his tenure, his reputation for fairness, honesty, and impartiality was a key component in acceptance of comic book certification among the community of collectors and dealers. Okay? So in 1999, he was CGC. He was the head grader, the standards. Everyone bases their standards off there. Comic book, price guides, everything. Okay? Now he left. Okay? In 2009, Steve became the senior consignment director for Heritage Auctions, the world's third largest auction house. You know where they go and they auction all those giant comic books? That was him, senior consignment director, okay? Now, I'm piecing this from different articles, so I hope anyone doesn't mind. Okay, Steve is honored by the fact that he's been called by many a comic book ambassador for our hobby, and is excited he started CBCS. Okay, the head of CGC grading started CBCS, guys. Okay, so I don't want to hear CBCS is poop, whatever. That's all I got to say about that. Now, I've heard rumors through major comic book dealers that Steve was asked to start another company, CBCS, because of the concerns of CGC running the market, which he did, okay? And then this happened. So we've gotten from CGC to CBCS now. Beckett Media, the most trusted brand in collectibles, is expanding into the comics marketplace. Beckett announced the acquisition of CBCS. They say, "We are thrilled to welcome Steve Borock and the CBS team to Beckett Collectibles family. Our global team is fully invested in serving the comics community with the trust, integrity, and fairness that Beckett has delivered to the collectors for nearly 40 years." Now, this happened a little under 2 years ago, okay? Borock, CBCS's co-founder and president, said Beckett's infrastructure and global reach provides the grading company with the unprecedented opportunity for growth. They will continue to serve collectors for CBS. So Borock still works there. You know, he says this. Today, Steve Borock says, today is an exciting step forward for CBCS and the comics community. Infusing Beckett's trusted brand and its talent in technology, marketing, and global expansion into the market creates an even greater opportunity for CBCS to serve our great hobby. Okay, so what we've just seen is the man, Steve, was CGC, went to Heritage Auction, then he started CBCS, and then BGS, the biggest card grading service in the world, bought CBCS and kept him on, okay? What I find interesting about all this is that BGS acquired CBS about 2 years ago, and all of a sudden, a CGC 9.4 and a CG 9.6 of new comics became 9.8s. More and more visible flaws on new comics are noticeable in new CGC 9.8 slabs. Now, what this could mean is CGC is pushing out higher grades on new comics to compete with CBCS's original standard, which CGC used to follow. That's all I have to say about that. That's my conspiracy. Now, I believe personally that CGC has become more relaxed on new comic books to compete and still grades older big books harshly because of the age of the comic and the census. If I had to sum all this up in a few short paragraphs, this is probably what I would say, okay? Number one, if you want the most for a comic on the resale market, CGC is the company you will use no matter what. No matter what problem exists, no matter what you think about anything, you are forced to use CGC for right now. Number two, Steve Borock is the standard for grading. He was head at CGC, Heritage Auction, and now CBCS. BGS is the standard for sports cards grading. They purchased CBCS. That is a dynamic duo. Now, number three, Steve Borock's grading standards still exist at CBCS. What I will say about that is you'll have your books graded correctly, and a 9.8 will be a 9.8. But does that benefit you today in today's market? The answer is no. Not yet. So, number four, if you're going to send a new comic to CGC for a 9.8, make sure it's perfect. Even though I have said they're being relaxed in grading, that does not mean that you should send them anything else but perfection. At least that's my point of view in regards to new comics. Now, in regards to options, there are plenty. The truth is that if you aren't going for top dollar on the resale market, you have choices, okay? Besides CGC, you have CBCS, PGX, and EGS. They're all great options. How I would break it down is this way. CBCS has the best graders and is in second place on the resale market currently. PGX would probably be in third place right now, and a lot of people use them. But you guys, there have been rumors and problems with this company, and I'll leave it up to you to investigate that, okay? But an option is an option, and that's my point. Now, EGS is also a new company. They follow the Overstreet grading standards and offer great color label cases to match your comic. They are slowly building their business. I enjoy their product. Last option, keep your book raw. Many people like this option, but if you want to protect your comic, I suggest using any of the four companies I've mentioned. Or, you can use a Mylar bag and board, whatever. But if you want it encased, any of them is an option. Now, I'm sure I'll think of more to say later, but I'll leave it at that. These are some of my thoughts, and I hope you enjoyed them, but maybe you didn't know. Here's what I do, okay? Straight, simple, this is what I do. I send my comics to CGC for resale. I send my books to EGS for the colored label when I want to keep that book for personal. And I buy CBCS 9.8 slabs all day long because they are cheaper currently, and eventually the market will come around, okay? So you have plenty of options. There's stuff there that I think you should know about. Most importantly, Steve Borock, who is basically God. And I feel like when he left CGC, his standards left with him. He started CBCS, so there would be no monopoly, even though there still is one. And he's brought those standards with him. And Beckett Grading Company noticed that and bought them. They're contenders. A lot of people are talking about turnaround times. That's all out the window. They've got all their stuff together now. But it's just the simple facts, guys. What we're forced to do and what we want to do, it's up to you. If whatever type of collector you are, I've left all the options there for you, and I've talked about my personal thoughts on CGC and what's been going on and the other companies. I hope this was something you enjoyed. Please leave your comments. I'm sure there's going to be a lot. And we'll talk to you next time. I'm pretty much done with this, though. like I said, I'll continue sending my books to CGC and praying for the best. For books that I want to resell, I'll continue buying CBCS books, graded 9/8, if I can get a good deal on them, because I know they're doing a good job over there. And for personal stuff, I'll use EGS. I love those color labels, and I like to present my books and have them protected. It's that simple. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll talk again later, okay? Have a good one. Bye-bye. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you want to use any of these coupon codes, go ahead. It's all there for you to use and abuse. Please check out this sick video next. And again, please hit that like button, throw a comment down, and please subscribe. Love you guys. Stay sick. See you later.